Choosing a business name is often the very first step many business owners and entrepreneurs have to take when it comes to actually bringing their business venture to life. Now, it's important to understand that your business name will actually form a key part of your brand's identity and also how your customers actually perceive you. Now, in today's video, I'm going to be talking to you about some of the general considerations you should bear in mind when it comes to choosing a business name for your business here in the UK, as well as some key considerations to think about when you're actually choosing a business name. Let's talk about the general considerations you should think about when choosing a business name for your business here in the UK. The first thing you want to make sure that you pay attention to is that it is short and simple, okay? This should be a no-brainer, but essentially you want it to be short and simple so that it is much easier for your customers to actually remember your business name in case they actually go on relevant search engines to look for your business, okay? This also leads me to the next general consideration you want to think about, which is discoverability, because believe it or not, approximately 5 to 10% of most businesses' website traffic actually comes from customers that have gone onto search engines to type in those business names. So if your business name is extremely long or is very complex and complicated to remember, it will make it extremely difficult for customers to remember that when they go on search engines to look for you. Okay, so just think about your customers when you are actually thinking about your business name, okay, and put yourself in their shoes. And this leads me on to the next consideration which you want to bear in mind, which is connection, okay? So it's important that whatever business name that you have decided on, it needs to have or create a connection between your business and your customer or your ideal clientele. Okay, your business name should ideally be able to speak to your customers and tell your customers what you do, what they can expect from you, and what sort of value your business is likely to provide to them. For instance, my business name is called Startup Wallet, okay, which basically means that we focus on providing value to startups and entrepreneurs, and we also focus particularly on the business finances for startups and entrepreneurs. And by the way, if you're getting value from this video right now, please do me a favor by giving this video a big thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe and turn on your notifications. So let's dive into the key considerations to consider when looking to actually choose a business name here in the UK. The first thing you want to think about is you want to make sure that you check Companies House Register. Okay, so you want to make sure you do this in case there are other companies that already have that company name that you want to use for your business. Okay, so this will actually help you avoid any potential duplication. Another thing you want to make sure to do is to think about actually checking the trademarks register, which is provided by the Intellectual Property Office. Next key tip here that you could consider when looking to choose your business name is to simply use your own name. Yes, there are lots of sole traders that do this, so it is a common practice that if you're trying to run your business as a sole trader here in the UK, you could simply use your own name, okay? An example of this might be Florina's Flowers, okay, where your name is Florina and you are currently running a flower business of some sort. You do, however, want to make sure that if you are trying to use this approach, you make sure that you don't include the words limited or LTD within that name. You also want to make sure that whatever business name that you're using in this scenario is not offensive and does not have any trademarks already registered against it. And the next step you want to bear in mind is you want to think about checking for domain names. Now you might be thinking, but I don't have a website yet. Why do I need a domain name? Well, in the potential event that you might want to develop and scale your business for growth in the future, you don't want to end up picking a business name that already has a fully developed and established website and brand identity with it. So it's best that at the very start of when you're choosing your business name, you want to make sure that you think about whether or not there is an existing domain that is already out there bearing the same name as your business. It's also likely that there can be instances where there are really, really big competitors out there that already have similar business name to what it is you're about to choose. So it's definitely worthwhile checking whether or not that particular business name that you're thinking of registering has a domain name that has been registered to it or not. Next tip you should bear in mind is to make sure that you check on social media. This basically means that you need to Google whether or not that business name that you have in mind has already been taken up by a social media profile. Okay, so maybe that could be someone has that same name on Instagram, or someone has that same name on YouTube, or indeed on Pinterest. It's very important that whatever business name you want to go with, you want to make sure that there are very few people, if at all. Okay, ideally you don't want anyone else to have that business name, because if you grow that business is going to end up being very unique to you, and you don't want to have to think about your competitors bearing a similar name to you. Okay, you don't want to have to put in all that effort growing your business only for customers to not be able to find you because they are ending up going to other companies instead, just because your name just wasn't unique enough. And the next key tip to consider here is geographical considerations. Now, some people might decide to include their city or their region in their business name, okay? And this might make sense in the short term, but if you think about it in the long term, you might actually run into potential problems with this. An example of this might be a situation where you choose the name of a company as being Manchester Mining, for instance, okay? But eventually, your business might actually grow above and beyond that particular city or that particular region. So, what happens when you want to scale that business out of Manchester? You would then be in a situation where you have to choose a different business name, because that business name no longer suits and serves the purposes of what it initially did, because it has now branched out of that city and out of that region. In the scenario, it's very important to think about whether or not the product or the service you're going to be providing is going to be locally targeted. Okay, is this particular product or service only going to be delivered in Manchester, and is that going to be the case for the foreseeable future? If it's not, then you really don't want to go down this approach. However, if it is, then it might be something that you can stick to, and you won't have to face any potential difficulties when it comes to scaling your business in the future. Now, at the end of the day, choosing a business name is a very strategic decision, which many business owners actually fail to recognize. Now, it's very important that whatever business name you choose is actually capable of growing and evolving as your business expands in the near future. It's also very important that whatever business name you choose can be legally protected and trademarked if you need to do so in the future. The third key point I would say here is to ensure that your business name is memorable. This is going to be key for how your customers are going to be able to remember you, and it will also be pivotal to when it comes to them remembering you against your competitors. So hopefully these tips will be useful to you when it comes to actually choosing your business name for your business here in the UK. Please remember to give this video a like. Please share this with a fellow business owner that you think might benefit from it. And remember to subscribe and turn on your notifications.